Ah, no way! Broken derailleur hanger. Probably the worst nightmare that can happen out on an e-bike ride. But fear not, today I'm showing you how to get home with a broken derailleur hanger. So let's take a quick look at the tools that we're going to need to remove the derailleur and make the bike single speed to get home. First up, obviously we've got a multi-tool. Now a lot of riders obviously going to have this in their backpack. This one's got a multitude of Allen keys, meaning I can do cable clamps, frame bolts, things like that. And on the back of it, a decent quality chain tool as well. It's just going to make life a lot easier when it comes to breaking that chain. Obviously, if you've got a multi-tool without a chain tool, then make sure you have a separate chain tool to break the chain. Next up, a quick link or missing link, whichever you want to call it. Just going to make life a lot easier when it comes to rejoining the chain, especially if you're running a Shimano chain because they join with a pin. This is quite easy, just simply click it together and you're good to go straight away. Zip tie, obviously for securing things like flailing cables, things like that, just going to make the job a little bit neater. Before we start any work on the drivetrain of an e-bike, you need to remember to turn the battery off. If that motor spools up whilst you've got your fingers in there working on the chain, you might not even have any fingers left to finish your work. Once you turn the power off, next step is to try and find the master link, if you've got one that is. If you've got a Shimano chain, then you're just going to have a black pin, which is the master pin. So you're going to have to break that chain wherever you see fit. But usually on any like KMC chain or SRAM chain, there will be a quick link. Usually they're pretty well hidden, but here it is on this one. So once you've located the quick link, there's a few options to break these things. Obviously, the easiest option, if you are prepared, is quick link pliers. All you need to do is literally click them in either side of the quick link and just pretty much squash them together. And that quick link's just literally going to pop off. Obviously, make sure you're going to stick that somewhere safe. Stick it in your pocket or your riding bag, because the last thing you want to be doing is searching around in the glass for a quick link, because these things definitely do have a knack of disappearing. So make sure that's up somewhere nice and safe. If you haven't got the quick link pliers, you can twist them, bend them around a little bit and push them. They sometimes will break, but they can be a royal pain in the butt. There is actually a real nice hack that we've done on a video before. Check this one out. So all I've done is threaded that shoelace through. I'm just going to put it through the link the other side just to oppose it. So I threaded that through nice and tight. So all we do now, once that shoelace is through, just going to oppose it each way nice and straight. Tension it. There you go, snap. You hear it break, and you can obviously just break that chain. If you haven't got a quick link, then the only option to break the chain is going to be a chain tool. All you need to do is obviously set the chain tool up, engage it in the splines on the chain tool and just wind it in so it's actually just pressing right in the middle of the chain. Just make sure you're always in the middle of the pin, because if you try and take a pin out of a chain and the tool isn't necessarily driving the pin straight out, they can sometimes snap. And obviously this is your only get out of jail free card, so if your chain tool breaks now, definitely going to be some tears. Once you've broken the chain, next step is just to wind the chain out of the derailleur case. So just pull it through, just obviously feeding it out. Just be careful not to drop any parts as you go. Now the last remaining contact to the bike is obviously the cable clamp. All you're going to need to do is stick an Allen key in there and just take away that outer cable from the rear derailleur. Then once that's free, the derailleur is just going to come away from the bike. So now you've got this rear derailleur cable just floating around in the air. Obviously, if you're going to ride around, it's going to go into your spokes, it's going to be tinging around, and it could jam in your chain again. So really good way is just literally try and secure it up on the chainstay. Just get a zip tie on there, something like that, just to keep it out of harm's way. So just zip tie it up somewhere nice and safe, out of the way. Right, we're all set, ready to single speed this e-mountain bike. Now I want to talk a little bit about what sprocket you're going to use on the rear of the bike. A couple of things you need to think about. One is the type of riding you've got left to do to get back to your car or to your house. Is it just flat tarmac, or is it a load of climbs? That's obviously going to dictate what sprocket you're going to use on the back. Things you need to think about as well is the actual chain line of the bike. Traditionally, single speed bikes have a bang on chain line from the front chain ring to the back sprocket. There's no bend in the chain whatsoever. But obviously with a choice of 10, 12 sprockets on the back of the bike, you're going to get a bit of difference in the front chain ring to the back. So chain line is definitely important when it comes to selecting what gear you're going to use on the back of your e-bike. Now when it comes to working on chain line and doing that final single speed setup, I like to work on the bike upside down. It just means that I can spin the cranks, get a really good visual on the chain ring and the whole chain line setup that I'm going to be using. So flip it upside down, obviously be taking care if your controls and things, not to hit them on the floor. Maybe place a bit of padding or something over your display. Just make sure you're not going to be scratching any of those controls whilst you're working on your bike upside down. On this 11-speed setup that I've got today on my Canyon, I'm thinking that 8th gear is actually pretty bang on to set the gear in, so it's nice and in line. There's no crazy shapes coming from the front chainring to the back cassette, meaning that once I apply the power, the chain isn't going to want to go up the cassette or drop down. So it's really key to get that chain line bang on. Next step, you want to look at how many links you're going to take out of the chain to ensure that you've got a blunt end of the chain to rejoin it if you've got a quick link. Obviously, if you haven't got a quick link, then you need to be thinking about getting the master pin out and rejoining the chain. When it comes to shortening the chain, you just need to get it on the desired sprocket that you've got, which has got a good chain line and is going to suit the rest of the ride. Then just pretty much put the chain alongside the remainder of the chain that you've got already on the bike, and just make sure that that link is lining up with the same link that you're going to remove. So basically, I'm going to use a quick link for joining this. So I need to have a blunt link to a blunt link. So if I was to break it here, it's going to be bang on that I can just put that quick link in. Then there's going to be good tension in the chain. Just check when you've got it in the right position, just pinch it together, check that bottom chain and the top chain just to make sure it's nice and tight. But bearing in mind that obviously when suspension activates as well, that there's going to be a bit of chain growth, so don't go too tight on the chain, because when you hit a bump, you could potentially snap the chain again or be putting a lot of stress on the motor. So when it comes to joining the chain, if you're going to be using a quick link, you want both at the end of the chain to look like this. This is kind of like the blunt end of the chain. In my other hand, I have an open kind of link. This is obviously ready to accept that link into it, but I'm going to need a master pin, so I'd break that down to the next link. Basically, as the chain links go, you go blunt end, open end, blunt end, open end. So just count down when you're joining the chain up actually how many links you're going to need to take out, and it needs to correspond with the way you're going to join that chain. So blunt end to blunt end if you're using a quick link, and obviously allow that gap for the actual chain link to fit. But if you're going to be using a pin, then obviously you need to make sure it's going to the right open end with the pin ready to join it. So once you've found that pin that you're going to break, it's just a matter of repeating that process we did where we broke the chain earlier. So just keep it pinched in your fingers, get the chain tool in there and break it. So if you're going to use a quick link, this is a chance to push the pin fully out of the chain. Obviously, if you haven't got a quick link, then you need to actually not push this pin all the way out, because this is what you're going to reverse with the chain to actually push that pin back in when it comes to actually rejoining that without a quick link. So you just simply push it back in the way it came out, just drive it all the way back in, just make sure it's balanced in there, just nice and easy. Just check that it's not stiff as well, because joining chains like this usually create quite a stiff link. So if there is a stiff point in it, just give it a little flex and a little bend. It should see it moving around quite nicely. So there you go, that's joining the chain without a quick link. But as I say, it's not very reliable, and for the cost of having a quick link, it's definitely worthwhile sticking one in your riding pack. Now, reinstalling the quick link really is a doddle, but bearing in mind some of these are actually directional, so just make sure if there are any arrows on it, it is facing the right way on your drivetrain. Literally clip it together, give it a little pull. It might not fully engage, but as soon as you get that on the top side of the drive and a bit of power for it, it will just simply click and you'll be sorted. There, it's fully engaged now. As you see down here, it's nicely engaged. Just make sure it's fully in. Then just give it a quick pedal. There you go, single speed. One really important part of shortening your chain to go single speed is, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, about how you get that tension in the chain. Now, if you look at the chain now, it looks super slack, doesn't it? But as soon as my weight goes on that bike, look how much tighter it makes it. So just make sure you're not in too high a cog on the cassette, because as soon as you're going to sit on it, it's probably going to flash up an error code as well. So just make sure you're actually in a lower and a lot slacker chain than you think when you set it up single speed. Once you're happy with single speed setup, then it's time just to give it a quick ride around, give it a little test. Don't go crazy on it, because obviously if you haven't used a correct joining link, it could snap the chain again and you've got to do that process all again, or it could jump up and down the cassette. So it's really important just to take it nice and steady on this first test ride. So I've just finished my little test ride on the single speed setup and it's actually feeling pretty good. But one thing I definitely did notice, even on those bigger potholes along this fire road, I could actually feel that tension coming through the chain as well. So just scan ahead on the trail. Obviously if there's any jumps or drops, you don't want to be hitting them. This is definitely a straight home. You know, you don't want to be doing any extreme riding at all on a single speed setup on an e-bike, because that chain jams, it's going to cause a lot of problems to you and your motor and possibly snap a chain. So there you go. I really hope this scenario doesn't happen to you, because it is one of the worst e-bike nightmares out on the trail. Nothing rates higher than a snap derailleur. But if it does happen, you've got all the information needed to get you able to limp home and not push your way home. But if you've enjoyed today's video, be sure to check out Henry's video over here all about chains. Give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Drop some comments in the box below. Don't forget to smash a globe in the middle of the screen to subscribe to eMBN.